Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Edgar Preciado, and I'm ready to begin. Benjamin Franklin once said, "Those who are willing to sacrifice liberty for safety deserve neither." Ever since World War I, safety has been expanded to principles of patriotism. Anyone who's against a war we're involved in is automatically considered unpatriotic and a threat to our national security. See, when it comes to the topic of news broadcasts and censorship, most of us will readily agree that the news plays an integral role in our information-seeking society. Where this agreement comes to an end is on the matter of censorship. Whereas some are convinced that censorship protects our patriotism during war times, we must admit that ultimately censorship is an infringement on our basic civil rights. So ladies and gentlemen, what you're going to hear today are three things. Number one, first I'm going to refute what opponents on the matter of censorship would have to say in regards to patriotism and safety. Secondly, I'm going to talk about the importance of free speech. And finally, I will discuss how the government should not be limiting the people and how it should be the other way around, how we should have the control in our society. So on to my first argument about how patriotism and safety are really not the issues that should determine whether or not news broadcasters should be censored in our government. We've seen that during war times, censorship increases. For example, during World War I, during World War II, and during Vietnam, we've seen a rise in censorship cases in which the government prevents people from having a voice. Censorship is being used during those times to prevent us from revealing the very nature of war, people dying and us losing millions of dollars on a useless war. For example, in the Vietnam War, the press released information that helped us to raise public awareness about the dangers of thousands of lives being lost and millions of dollars being wasted in such a useless war. In the end, we were able to withdraw from the war. Now let's also talk about China for a moment. China, during the Tiananmen Square incident, students protested and then military troops came on and fired against them. And now if you live in China, if you're a citizen in China, just try Googling Tiananmen Square. You can't because they censored it. And if you Google Tiananmen Square, you're going to be arrested and tried for crimes of unpatriotic behavior. So now to my second point about free speech in our press. We've seen that under the First Amendment, we have the right to say what we want, with, of course, the exception of the Supreme Court's famous rhetoric, "You can't yell fire in a crowded theater." Nonetheless, the ethics of journalism combined with the need of our public to be informed ensures that most journalism is beneficial to the citizens of our country. What we are doing by censoring journalists is we are infringing on their right to press and infringing on our own rights to be informed about the matters of our country. Now finally, I'm going to talk to you about the government, how the government should not control the people, but the people should control the government. The media is a check on the increasingly centralized powers of our government. What the media is known as the fourth branch of government, of course, in addition to the judicial, executive, and the legislative branches. We've seen that during times of anti-federalists and federalists, when our very country was being blossomed into the Constitution and whatnot, there has to be a balance between the power of our government and our own civil rights as citizens of this country. But this is a hypocrisy, because today, if we were to censor individuals from saying what they want, we would be acting the way King George of Britain did when he censored the American people, and we included this censorship in a list of our grievances under the Declaration of Independence written by Thomas Jefferson on July 2nd and published July 4th, 1776. What we see is that this is hypocritical and therefore should not be allowed. We would be betraying our own ideals and philosophies if we decide to censor the American public. So now let me summarize my points. Patriotism is not determined by speaking out in favor or against war. Secondly, free speech is sacred in our country. And finally, we must balance the rights of people to keep a check on the increasing powers of our government. So again, those who are willing to sacrifice safety for liberty deserve neither. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day.